work out, come home, take showers, get dressed, go to corporate America, come home, put on gross clothes, and then just start pulling down walls and, doing all kinds of gross stuff. Now, that was during this time of healing, okay? Trying to heal this big incision in my arm, still dealing with the loss of my dad, all of these things, okay? Now, also, I've always been the one to make dinner. And I mean, like, make dinner, haha, like heat up something. Well, in this new diet that I was trying, I hate that word, but you understand, of assembling food, Tim and I would work on the house after work and then eat dinner around 10:30 at night, which is when our news comes on, and then go to bed late. So that was the schedule for a very long time. And so when I would make dinner, I was just assembling food because I didn't really have time to do much research on how to cook. When was I going to cook? When was I going to learn to cook, And now in what I do now, these are all obstacles that I help people with. So I'm like, yep, been there, done that. Let's talk about it. So I am sitting, my husband, Tim, God love him, he's sitting on this couch and he's full of plaster dust and I am full of plaster dust and we just need something to eat before we go to bed. And I'm throwing food on a plate and he's sitting down and I give him this food and he looks up at me with these big puppy dog eyes and I mean, tension is so high, there's just a lot going on. And he looks at me and I said, Tim, what, please, what? He goes, Karen, I understand what you're doing with this food. It makes a lot of sense. I understand it, but you're going to kill us both. I said, and it was just kind of like that release, that ugly cry. And I said, I know, I'm sorry. I know it sucks. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at this. I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't know if this is going to help. I don't know if this is going to help me not get cancer again. I don't know. Like, I don't know anything right now, And he's like, oh, it's fine. We're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And with that, hot sauce on everything, and we ate the food. So you're all right. So without me even knowing it, the next day he looks for a vegan cooking class in St. Louis. I didn't even think about taking a class because guess what? I was not going to do this forever. And again, no time. So he finds this cooking class. It's at Whole Foods. And we get in. We're the last two people to get in. Full class. The instructor was awesome. We're still friends. She's slinging plants left and right. We're all having a good time. She's using like 5 or 6 ingredients for everything, all these meals. We're tasting it. I'm like, that's okay. Like, I think I can maybe do this for a little while longer. She calls me after class, asked me to be her assistant because she could see how excited I was. And I thought, wow. So just 2 weeks, two classes a month. We would go to these 2 Whole Foods in town. And I was her pack mule and I would bring all of the ingredients and the recipes and do the dishes and just learn through her. Fast forward 2011, she moves out of town because her husband has transferred something. Whole Foods says to me, oh, well, would you like to teach? And I said, no, I'm sorry. I've never taught anybody anything, nor do I want to. And they said, okay, well, here's the paperwork. And I thought, no, you guys don't understand. So I get home. Tim's like, oh my gosh, you have to do this. I said, hi, have we met? I'm not going to teach anyone anything. He said, okay, let's fill it out. So that's how STL Veg Girl was born. And I can remember, oh my God, Chuck, after my first class, I still like get sweaty from it because I was so nervous. People were coming in, they were spending their time and money with me to learn something. And it made me, you want to talk about imposter syndrome to the nth degree. It was after that class, I went back to the PCRM website because I remember something about training. And I dug around a little bit, and it was the Food for Life program. I read all the way through it, and I thought, wow, that is really something because they talk, you know what it's all about, but helping us as instructors, helping us communicate the health benefits between a plant-based diet and health for diabetes, for cancer, for wellness, for children, for, employee wellness, all these things. And I thought, wow, I don't know if I want to build a business around this, but this seems like really comprehensive stuff. Like, this is a big deal. Well, back in the day, this is all before it went virtual. You have to try out for this. This is not, here's my money, I'll be on the next plane. You have to be legit into this. So you had to be on a plant-based diet for health reasons for at least 2 years. I had a 2.5-hour phone call with somebody. I don't even know who it was. You had to do a video of yourself cooking one of the PCRM recipes. That was challenging. And then 3 letters of recommendation from people who are not friends or family or coworkers, and then like some kind of other application. But it was a big deal. I spent a lot of time on this, and then I was accepted. And then you have to get there, you have to pay your way, you have to do all the things. And then I can remember getting back on the plane on the way back to St. Louis. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope no one says anything to me, because I have all of this information in my head and I'm trying to organize it in such a way that I sound like an intelligent human being when I start to regurgitate it out and hopefully help people. But it is the greatest training. I encourage anyone to go through it. It'll change your life, your whole outlook, and it'll really help you become a much better communicator, instructor, teacher.
Boy, if that isn't the sales pitch, I don't know what is. But very accurate. That is so very true. I help out with the trainings now, and I've never seen a more dedicated group of individuals. And it's because we want people who are going to be like you, enthusiastic and fired up, and really just want to get out there, teach those courses, and better their community, and as I say on the show all the time, help people do what they feel is impossible. And that's take charge of their health, which it's not impossible. It just takes a little bit of coaching. And that's where the Food for Life instructors come in, and they're doing just that. And that's now what you're doing on an even larger level with the Plant-Based Culinary Education Center. Let's talk about this. So you again, you take all of your chips, you put them right into the middle of the table. You go back to the casino. You say, hey, casino, let me get some more chips. I'm going to push those into the middle of the table as well. Lo and behold, now we have this Culinary Education Center. Talk to me about what's happening now.
Wow. Okay. So I did a lot of things between 2011 and 2017, personal chef, all kinds of things, just trying to find my way in this whole plant-based world, and still using my PCRM education. And I will say, by the way, I have to say this one thing, and I think this is such a cool thing that I think PCRM ought to know about. About 2 days after I got off the plane from PCRM, our cancer support community called me, and the executive director called me and said, Karen, can you please come in for a meeting? I said, well, yeah, sure. Okay. Not knowing what was going to happen. She gave me a blank calendar and she said, I understand the type of training you just went through, and I'd like you to help our community. You put classes on this calendar whenever you want, and it still gives me chills. And I'm still teaching there 11 years later. Wow. So I'm a huge advocate, again, for the Food for Life program, because I take it seriously. People who go through it take it seriously, but so does the community. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal.
That's outstanding.
So the Center for Plant-Based Living, the nation's first plant-based nutrition education culinary center, all those words jumbled up, I guess. In 2017, I'm laying in bed awake and I'm thinking, I've done these things, like I've teamed up with Forks Over Knives and created a program that was very successful for people. And I've done these summits here in town with Dr. Jim Loomis and all these different things to hopefully help people out, or help themselves out. Really, that's what it's about. And then you see people who have reversed their type 2 diabetes, or on the road to, or they're losing weight. Anyway, they're feeling better, they're looking better, they are better. But what is that thing where they start to add the foods back into their diet that got them in trouble in the first place? Why? What is that? What's the impetus to that? And I'm also I went through Well Coach's coaching program. So I'm a certified health and wellness coach through them. And so I started thinking more on the coaching level. And I thought, gosh, I think it's support. Think about it this way, whenever somebody makes a lifestyle change, whether it's trying to exercise more or quit smoking or quit drinking or whatever it is, it's kind of easy to find that support, right? I mean, it's pretty acceptable. But when you make a diet change, okay, You are the only one doing that. You're on a solo mission. And by the way, now you're the weird one. So without support to help you, it's really tough to stay the course. So I thought, there's got to be somebody around this country who has a brick and mortar who does this thing that's in my head. And so I called some people who I know that who are very high up in this plant-based world, who I'm very just honored to be friends with as well. And I said, listen, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Can you tell me who else is doing this so that I can go to them, pay them for their time and their knowledge, and then create that in St. Louis? We need support. They said, no, that's not happening. I said, why not? They said, because nobody wants overhead. Everybody's doing what you and so many other people are doing. They're service-based. They're going to other people. And I said, that's ridiculous, because if somebody is dealing with a cancer diagnosis or type 2 diabetes or just needs support for anything plant-based related, I and everybody else should not be a moving target. They need a place to go. So that was in 2017. So for 2 years, I saved everything I had. And on the anniversary of my dad's passing, which was August 13th, 2008, we opened up the Center for Plant-Based Living in his name. So it was really quite a day. And I'm so proud to have this. And up until for 7 months, we were gangbusters, people in and out of here all the time, full classes, you name it. And then we had COVID. But a lot of people have that story. So, but you know what? We've made it. We're nearly out of the pandemic, hopefully, and we're still around. So I'm really happy. I'm really happy, and I'm really proud of what everyone's done here.
No question about it. And I'm still in awe. I know that you're there right now, and that's your kitchen at the center, and it's absolutely gorgeous. What type of classes are you offering now? I mean, I assume it's a little bit more in depth than just going in and learning how to cook. I mean, it's a culinary education center. So, walk